And welcome back to DreamHack Showdown. Winter, I made a quick sandwich, went for some sort of, Gouda cheese, went for a little bit of salami, bit of a weird combo, but I feel ready for the third map, Vince. How are you feeling for that third map? Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. I'm expecting another close one here, Lauren. I'm expecting fireworks. I'm expecting some questionable decisions and us to often be thinking WTF, but it should be a lot of fun.
I like that. I like the kind of mindset of questionable decisions. Like, let's see those kind of, when we say percentage-based teams, no, I want people going for like the wildest plays. Train, though, it's a tricky map to approach. That aggression we saw previously could make some of these teams fumble a little. I want to see how diligent these teams look on this. It will be NOFEAR5 to start on that T side as well, so quite a rough start if they don't get off to a good beginning here.
Absolutely. The same could be said for Pride as well, though. It was their CT side on Overpass that, for me, was very weak. And I wonder if they do get picked and found and punished a lot. 2 players passively on B, all the way back with their USPs. Meanwhile, Tati with a P2000 is putting it down range on Ivy. 2 players over here from NOFEAR5. They're keeping the bomb around main, and a smoke has now been tossed onto Ivy that will just draw away a little bit of the attention. The bomb is making moves with Victoria, but as of yet, Lauren, no big aggression from the T's.
Yeah, this is quite a slow round. Now, credit to them, they have taken away all of that utility. They've taken away the smokes, they've taken away anything that the CTs might have. They didn't have much, to be fair, but it's now gone. Utopia over towards E-Box, could be in for some fun. No one checking on this opens up a big opportunity, switches over towards Pop. Overwhelmed in the end, but Potcher's still standing.
Still standing, still trading, but running out of ammunition and should be put down. Indeed she will. Tati trying to spray with the P2000 through the smoke, but nothing really forthcoming. It's looking like NOFEAR5 will get their hands on the pistol, and pretty convincingly so. There were a couple of scrappy fights in amongst that, but the T's overwhelmed the site, and Pride back foot already.
Look, NOFEAR5 know how to win a pistol, it seems. We just need to see if they can then keep this up going forward, keep that pressure on. Let's see what they can come up with on this T side. Looking at the purchase coming in. 2 rifles, 1 Galil and 1 AK. The rest City on the MAC-10, so decent utility as well. Let's see if they go for the classic kind of inner hit, or if they opt to maybe try and do something else. But we've seen this before, the stack on old bomb train.
Classic. That kind of range as well, where maybe it can punish one of those MAC-10s if they were to walk out. Elizabeth hiding behind the sandwich smoke now gets flashed into position. That lands on all 5 of these players, but they find out all 5 residing outside. It's only a MAC-10 they pick up. In actual fact, NOFEAR5 not really in a position to make the most of this to get a plant down quickly. So there is a way that Pride could do a bit more damage, but MRSK, she's on the back of them.
The issue is, though, she's seen 2 players, but the other 3 were towards B, and now they're getting the stack right. Right now, Pride are kind of running them around the map when they have USPs in a MAC-10. MRSK should be able to finally cut off this rotation. She does. There it is. There's the kind of clothesliner to the rotation, finally punishing it. And now the bomb can safely be brought through towards B.
Any of that early anxiety can now be well and truly laid down. Pride may be able to hold on to one of these SMGs, but they will have a buy into the next round, so not really ideal. It does afford you maybe to play it close, like Pop Dog or Ramp, get some more grenades underneath it. I think what Utopia will probably be hoping for here is she can crack out a kill or 2 with it, put a lot of money in the back pocket, and have an even better buy for the next round. NOFEAR5 don't have this. It's done. It's 2-0, whichever way you spin it. And Pride already off to a little bit of a sketchy start, but I really need to see what they're going to offer us in that rifle, and if we're going to have these over-aggressive peaks again, Lauren, because that really was their downfall over on Overpass.
It is going to be interesting, isn't it? I think that's what I'm waiting on, is to see what we get, to see what the looks are. Do we still have that aggression? Do we not? Do we have that mad 4-play stacks around the map and, these kind of quite weird calls, but they worked out. I mean, I don't mind it. I just very open-minded at this point to what we get to see coming through. Victoria up on the AWP, so that's going to be coming out early. MRSK still on the MAC-10 as is Fatal, so a little bit of a choppy buy, but it will be serviceable. And look at the utility on the CT side. That is rough. No one opting to go down on maybe, the FAMAS or something of the such, and maybe get a touch more utility. Everyone on the M4s.
Yeah, that's actually a huge surprise to me. MP9 off FAMAS, surely. No kits, only 2 smokes left, and they also all went for head armor as a result of the MAC-10s in play. So this is potentially a very costly mistake that could be coming to the forefront. They've also bypassed Ivy control. They're playing a little bit more passive angles. Now, if NOFEAR5 gets success in this round with these 2 MAC-10s, put Pride into an awkward position, this is a golden ticket for a mammoth half of Counter-Strike. So Pride already, early doors, feeling the effects. They're bypassing Ivy. They're taking the long control towards Spawn and wrapping on B again. This puts Potcha and Jammy in such a horrible spot.
It does. It's uncomfortable. Jammy, what do you do? Oh, Dash is just... Oh, that's not pretty. That's opened up a huge gap now. That's going to mean the pop's open and available. And yes, the T's will clear meticulously. But honestly, they don't even particularly need to. The site's all theirs. That's a free bomb plant and nothing more to be done. Elizabeth already noting potentially there's going to be more players from this particular area. As everything else is pretty much locked down. Yeah, this is a bit of a beating by NOFEAR5 here.
I do also feel like an element of this is being self-imposed as well, though, Lauren. Like, again, the lack of utility, incendiaries and smokes are so vital on a map like Train to cordon off some of these areas.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of with you on that. I didn't like the full M4 investment. I'd have loved to have seen someone... and I know it sucks to be the person to opt to sit down on, the weaker buy. Oh, that ain't it, Chief. And we do have Jammy holding on to their rifle, and you've got to hope that they keep hold of these. But they're going to be hunted down, and rightly so. You've got to try and get them out of their hands, and they are. Potcha might be the only one to still keep theirs, trying to slip away. Oh, that tag on the way out. But you can see the state of the money. It's not good. Yeah, I really wish they'd have had at least one player opting to, be it a MAC-10, whatever. It doesn't really matter what you buy, but just have enough for that utility, because Train is so horrible to play without it.
Right, and it's also a map that you do have choke points, so if you have to drop down to MP9s or FAMASs, it's still workable. You play ramp, you play pop dog, you play up close on Ivy. Speaking of which, they have forced their way out onto Ivy alongside, but Victoria, having already winged Tatney down to 3, has also finished off the frag onto Potcha. Elizabeth may be a bit too apprehensive and decides to get aggressive, gets punished, but I don't think they can get their hands on that weapon just yet. And this is more of a ruse because NOFEAR5 are taking control over box walls.
Yeah, Jammy on the other side. Excuse me. Seems very cognizant of the fact that they are under a lot of pressure here. With the smoke coming in, they are now open. Did they get spotted? I think they might have. Fatal is certainly looking for it. Yes, Tori finds it, but they were very well aware. And these rifles keeping everyone back at arm's length. Utopia is able to get a step into this, though. A 2v3 that's certainly doable. Fatal feeling very brave again. These isolated fights and the late lurk from MRSK means that Dushka could potentially get 2 individual fights. Again, keep in mind, one of them is low, now noted, looks for another. Victoria's in trouble, gets bailed out by Fatal. These rounds aren't clean, but they're going NOFEAR5's way.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't matter how they get the W's as long as they're putting them back to back. Pride will have a buy. It will include at least 1 up. They could even go in for 2. I think they could afford a secondary. Yeah, it's just these last few moments where you thought Dushka could maybe get it done. She has been around for quite some time as well. Women's CS, veteran player. In a lot of clutch situations. But with this buy, just the 1 up, you feel like they've got to start making them work sooner rather than later though, Lauren. Otherwise, this could just get out of control.
Yeah.
Oh no, Elizabeth.
Oh, what on earth just... How? How? Hello? But yes, it can get out of control. Similar to a Molotov unchecked on. Very quickly shut down. I like a little bit of the aggression pushing up, being very attentive. Nice way to kind of navigate around the fact you don't have that much utility, is to normally play ahead of it a little bit or play up front. This time they did have a touch to play with, so they were fine, but I like what they did with this. T's are left in tatters. They have nothing to really play with. They have no ground gain. It's so early on they lost this. The fight back in would have to be a cacophony of errors from the CTs. Let's see if they get a single 1v1 fight without a trade. If they do, well, then, we've seen weirder things happen.
It's all about how much damage they can also inflict at this stage. Taking an AWP and a couple of these rifles away could be massive. 40 seconds to play. MRSK throwing the smoke down into Ivy. Potch is missed with the AWP, gets punished. And Fatal also comes in, spots the secondary player up in heaven, looking to try and tap for an extra frag, and that could have been huge. Instead, though, Pride do hold on and can trade up to the couple of AKs and also an AWP.
Yeah, looking at the money, by keeping 3 of them alive, they're at least able to spread the wealth quite well. If they'd lost another, it could have been a bit of a problem at that point, but no. Able to keep most alive. And that early aggression, I wonder if they pull it off again somewhere else potentially, but that kind of Aggie play, happy to sit up close. Not sure if you're going to get away with it 2 times in a row, but the molly's there and they're double dipping on this. Or at least they were considering it. I don't think they're going to commit this time, or maybe they do. Yeah, right back again. How on earth do you get that opportunity? You don't. It gets ripped away by Elizabeth, and now suddenly there's problems aplenty. Tatty, though, locked in, doesn't allow it to slip away, and Utopia from that E-box is still being a nuisance.
Putting down a lot of damage. An extra kill comes in, finally does get subsided. Have the right idea about Ivy, where 2 of the CTs have pulled the plug and tried to back out. Now, because all that carnage and mayhem came down so damn quick, there's still over a minute to play with. NOFEAR5 don't need to rush into this and try and play some mind games. It's more that MRSK is caught in a really awkward angle. A beautifully placed flashbang yields the kill, but now MRSK shows her hand. First kill goes into play. 2 more to find. Bomb. Awkward position. Can be covered from Pop Dog. So MRSK throws down the smoke to try and at least alleviate one of the angles. And this is very winnable for MRSK now, Lauren. She's actually in a good position.
I just wonder if she considers Jammy's new adjusted position. I like that from Jammy. Taking the initiative, it was risky because it did leave the bomb open for a second or 2, but MRSK is so enamored with the prospect of someone being at pop, she did not consider that Jammy could have hit that rotation like she did. Very well done by Jammy there. The risk-reward was certainly in the right place. And this was, as you said, the damage being done by Utopia from here was pretty paramount. Very, very pivotal play.
I'm glad that we're seeing Pride, though, at least string some rounds together. I thought they were going to get bulldozed over early on when those first 4 rounds came into effect, but now they've got a golden opportunity to string together more. Their economy still hasn't fully stabilized. Only Utopia is looking fairly healthy. So against these pistols, surely this is the easy, straightforward round they've been looking for. Jammy anchoring on B. Seems to be the anchor for the team, but she gets a bullet to the head, and that's B-side open for business.
Unbelievable that Deagle came through. Tori's got herself the AK as well. Touchdown with the nade does so much What? How are these kills coming in? Vince, I don't get it. We're down to Potcher and Tatty.
Absolutely unbelievable. Tatty, though, is going to hold on with the AUG. At this kind of range, the weaponry of Pride should be good, but of course the tables have turned. Now everything is put on their shoulders to go and retake the bomb. Put a flag where they used to cover before. MRSK from the side. Dispatches of Tatty, but Potch is still in this. Smoke down onto the top. Oh, she thought she was going to get peeked. She came off the bomb. This is such drastic timing, and it's only a Glock that Fatal has, but she puts the Glock through the smoke. NOFEAR5, take it.
These anti-ecos, these pistols, these deagles have run rampant through the Pride side. This is not the first time, and it feels like it probably won't be the last. Jammy, roll your mind back to Nuke. The overrun that happened there. How they lost the round, and now we see it again. I've never seen a team be so broken by pistols so often. It is very surprising, and it's broken the back of the economy as well, Vince. This is rough stuff, but already trying to maybe tip those scales. Early aggression, but it's kind of dashed away quickly. Tori, does she check in a competent manner? Molly will not go towards the player. It goes a little deeper. I don't think it will force Jammy out at all. And oh, God, not again.
So often.
Joe, the problem is, this isn't necessarily great play. This is mistakes aplenty. You don't lose that fight, but apparently you do. This is the thing. I would love to see a team consistently showing diligence on these pistol rounds. But I do not love seeing mistakes time and time again. Another opportunity now arising for the team who only had pistols coming into this. A deagle or 2, a bit of armor here or there. Very limited amounts. They made it work. But NOFEAR5 should be kicking themselves. They just did this. You don't get to do it twice in a row or get it done back to you. Potcher might have to think better of this scenario or look for a better option, because that one just had the window closed and no, it's time to back away. Keep that AK, not a bad little reward after what you've done, because you've just made the T side look silly.
Yeah, I'm right alongside with you as well, Lauren. It's one thing, like, contextually, if the team with pistols has deagles and they just make some absolutely ludicrous 1-deags round corners, that's one thing. If it's just really scrappy, mispositioned, bad decision-making that costs you, I'm not really on board with that either. I'm all for excitement, but there is a fine line that you have to adhere to.
I don't like it. Tom Biz is mocking me, guys. It's mocking me. Because I get mad about pistol rounds. Look, my sanity levels just real dip. You know what I mean? Like, it just goes real low when I see that happening. And I think it's the right call for a timeout. Either of these sides, you could argue, should take a timeout once in a while and talk things through, keep that tempo in the right place. I said, things do get weird when it does come down to more domestic games, when it's, you know, people who know each other. The game does change, for sure. But not to this extent. I don't love that. However, coming back in, utility favorable towards the T's, I'd say, but it's comparable. It's not too bad for the CT side. They have their Molotovs, they have the AWP out, they have what they need, and they have a 4-play stack. It looks like we've done a bit of a switcheroo here, but quickly, Victoria and Elizabeth, where have they just dug these kills from?
Elizabeth got one outside of main before she was shut down by Tati, who's then gone on the receiving end of Victoria's second of the round. And after the timeout, it really could not have gone much worse. Pride called that timeout, instantly move out, get wrecked within about 15 seconds.
It was pretty bad. All right, we've got this sweet game plan. Cool, can't wait to... Oh, that's brute. Victoria. Behave. Poor old Tati's having a nightmare this game. She's had a belting series. That's the most British I've sounded in a while. I don't know why I went so hard into it. Had a belting series from Midlands now. A little bit more north, maybe. I'll go up a little bit further north. But pistols. Guys, you ready for Pride to win the round? Lock yourself in. Seatbelts fastened. Arms, legs, all appendages inside the ride. Here we go. Here we go. Not this time. All right. 3-for-1 trade keeps it very favorable to NOFEAR5. They should be safe in this unless someone just yeets the mouse out the window. Potcher's gone and done it. That's another kill. It ain't clean, but it should be a round win.
Yeah, Jamie's position is known. 50 health left. Post plant, and they have both Victoria and MRSK with Molotovs. So yeah, best of luck to you, Jamie. It was absolutely mind-blowing to me when they said on the desk, and I did double-check this because I couldn't quite believe how good her aim is. She does actually have 100 ping, which is kind of outrageous when you think of some of the shots that she's pulled off.
Damn. That is pretty wild. I have no excuse to be garbage. Damn.
Right, that's how I felt. I was like, geez. I play with 20 ping and I'm absolute trash. So...
Why have you brought that up?
I know, everyone feels bad now. Just goes to show how good Jamie actually is. Imagine her with 20 ping.
She's not. She's been hitting like filthy shots. Oh dear. Well, here we go. My insecurities being projected again. 8-2. NOFEAR5 are looking quite solid here. I don't know where this sits in the map pool. For Pride particularly. Again, we've seen some quite weird score lines though, and a lot of potential run backs for some of these teams. I'm not seeing too much of that potential here for Pride, sadly, but it's still, I don't want to say early in the game, there's still wiggle room when we've seen those kind of like crazy runs happening where it's just, mounting the crazy comeback. But you do get burnt out. Overpass could be wearing pretty heavy on Pride's head. They were, almost on the finish line and then just kind of dribbled it. Tori trying to clear up close, but it's not close that's the threat. That was, but there they go. Utopia's dead and buried. A quick little play down. Ivy does trade favorably eventually as Victoria does take down Tati. But Tori's getting some space here.
She is, absolutely. And she's getting even more space within the context of the rest of the CTs being hammered around her, peppered in, sprayed through smoke, flashes, the whole 9 yards. Potcher with an AWP, giving a position away. Don't quite understand the shot into Ivy if you're trying to save, but doesn't really matter. It's 9-2.
Yeah. You're right. 90. Veerless is flexing. She's got her new mic as well. Oh, I'm jealous. Mine's definitely not here yet. Welcome to Germany. It's not efficient. It was all a lie. So that's one thing. Living in Germany, I've realized efficiency, not here. Oh, we've got a pistol round. Right. Treat it like a buy round. We have utility with it as well. Deagles, P250s, nades. They can nuke somewhere. It looks like a couple have already been sent down. Look at the damage. Elizabeth just like headbutted that. There was a response though. Tati's gone down for it. But room being garnered by Jammy too. This is a bit of a sketchy round now.
Yeah, one of those rounds where you expect Pride to at least get it close, maybe get a kill or two because of how these pistols have gone to date. But for the most part, if you see a buy like this between two teams, you think, well, NOFEAR5 guaranteed have 10 rounds. Should be a formality at this point. They're picking up the bomb, headed outside, making sure none of these angles can have any pesky CTs go for a wide swing on Pop Dog. Fan of that, Tori. 14 kills with 129 ADR. They can add a 15th into the mix. Not a 16th, though. Utopia takes that away from up. But the CTs are being battered and savaged across the board. It's only down to Dushka. She's got herself a deagle, but it's going to be 10 to the T's, let's be honest.
Were you more a Savaloy man or a battered sausage man?
I do like a good old sausage, mate.
I did like Savaloys. I did like a good Savaloy. Oh, that was it. Savaloy, little pucker pie, chicken and mushroom. Oh, British cuisine. Truly the pinnacle of our culture. But you're right. Dushka is on the deagle. Maybe an exit or two would be nice, but it looks like Victoria's already keeping that very well in check. Does she get anything? Dun, dun, dun. Victoria. We don't lose that orb, do we? Let's see. No, we don't. Nicely done. Double digits now for NOFEAR5. They're starting to stretch their legs here. The lead starting to build quite substantially, and we haven't seen much of a response yet, sadly, for the opposition. I was kind of hoping to see a little more from Pride. I was hoping to see a little bit of a bite back here, but 10 to 2 is feeling a little bit skewed. No one breaking double digits individually as well. We haven't had that big step up from a player here yet either.
Yeah, and they have also called tactical timeouts. So it's not as if you can say, well, they've just been stubborn. They've got one still to, an ace up the sleeve. It feels like this is what they have to offer. So much nade damage done. Dushka, Utopia, Potcha all taking that. That's plenty of softened targets now that NOFEAR5 can pounce on later on in the round. Smoke down, keeping the options open. Jammy playing in between the two smokes. Maybe called upon to deal with Fatal, who's just perched up on top of the ramp. But I don't think this bodes well because, look, Jammy's just completely alone. They do have a secondary player coming in, but it is the weakened Dushka.
Gonna be easy. You see the plan is smokes in hand. They're gonna be invested now. Jammy now, ready with the Molotov. A little late to deny the initial hit, but MRSK's already gonna find Tati. There's the overwhelmed Tories there. Jammy's dead. Dushka is at least committed towards the site now, smothered by keys though. Left, right, center, pinned out, put down, picked up. This is gonna be another one. Surely 11 to 2 now. These rounds are being just ripped away from Pride. They're looking flat now, Vince. This might be the end of them.
Yeah, it feels like any gas they had has gone. They're on fumes, and I feel like those fumes kind of started dissipating away after that overpass loss. I couldn't even blame them. That must have been devastating because they knew that that was theirs.
Yeah, it's a little... It does feel unfortunate for me seeing a team clearly looking so muted after a good series. The first two maps were excellent. This is no discredit to NOFEAR5 playing a good game either, but I feel like this is a knock-on effect of a very rough ending to that previous map. And Dushka is going to try and push up that 5-7. Nothing new. We've seen these doing some work, and actually goes unnoted. Let's see if we have another deadly pistol. MRSK seems aware that someone could be close by with that deep smoke. They have to keep that in check. Be meticulous in the clear. They check on it. They know there's someone now there. Now they need the success, and they get it. Elizabeth, well played.
That was an odd little flick that Dushka did towards a teammate there. I don't know if she got startled by the first couple of shots or what happened, but regardless, the end result is NOFEAR5 trampling over Pride again. MP9, Deagle, all that remains is Tati and Potcha try and just get the hell out of there with their Kevlar. Elizabeth is keeping them interested, but the bomb is headed over on B. That will be the final destination and resting place of this round. And whether Pride can maybe take this AK away from Elizabeth is yet to be seen, but they're going to have to do it with just Potcher, because Tatty's been found and fragged by Fatal. MP9 at range at least dishes the fatal blow on one, but that's all they will get from this round. NOFEAR5 have really stepped it up.
Yeah, they have. They're bouncing off the confidence now. They're just kind of running through the game. They're not being held back. It does feel like Pride have just kind of run out of steam in this third one. They've hit the limit. And as said, timeouts, they've taken them. They've tried to, regain that mental fortitude here, but potentially Train's simply not one of those in the map pool that sits well with them. Or at least maybe, as said, mentally, they've just been ground down hard enough. Victoria going to find another here. And this feels like somewhat going through the motions. Posture does find the answer back over by those brown halls, so at least they're trying to stay on level pegging here.
I think going through the motions is definitely an apt phrase. It does feel like Pride are going on a bit of autopilot here. It's just lacking that fluidity and the adaptation to mount any kind of comeback. This round has been much better, though. At least ending the half in a positive way. MRSK on Ivy, 13 kills to her name. Had a very solid half of CS, as have the rest of NOFEAR5. Will go down, and that will be it for the half. That will read 12-3, and NOFEAR5 looking to steamroll this best of 3.
They were just stars in the sky. You came along and they started to shine. I never realized just what I was missing. They were just lights on a tree, till they turned to a spotlight shining down on you and me. I never thought I could feel so. Till you showed me just how beautiful Christmas is. Now you're the top of my list. Each December, I just wanna fall into your arms this Christmas. I just wanna celebrate the gift you give. You opened my eyes, brought down my guard. I let you in and you unwrapped my heart. You're the star on my tree. You make Christmas complete. You make Christmas complete. I just wanna fall into your arms this Christmas. I just wanna celebrate the gift you give. You opened my eyes, brought down my guard. I let you in and you unwrapped my heart. You're the star on my tree. You make Christmas complete. You make Christmas complete. La la la, la 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 la, la la la. You
So this has been quite brutal. The Christmas cheer on the break is certainly not translating to the game. A 12-3 scoreline is rough whichever team you're looking at. For NOFEAR5 fans, I'm sure they're happy, but this game has fizzled away into map 3. There's no two ways to put it. Pride might be lacking a little of what the name says here, Vince. It's looking quite flat, but maybe this T-side could suit them better.
It suited them better on Overpass, that's for sure, but had they given themselves enough of a structure to really pivot off? Victoria looking to try and take away any hopes, any lifelines with 2 big headshots. Opens it up. Elizabeth actually taking the suppressor off the USP, not that it really matters. And NOFEAR5, well, in the blink of an eye, as the entire first half suggested, it's been brutal and it's been very straightforward.
I think you're right. Straightforward there. I hope we get to see Victoria. I thought too much pressure, pinned into a corner, but keeps cool, keeps hitting the shots. That USP looking real sharp. No problem there at all. And as said, I think you can kind of start putting a fork in it because this one's looking kind of done, and it's a shame. We saw Tati. I loved watching Tati in the first 2 maps. I think she's been an excellent player. I think Jammy's certainly been a little highlight. Potcher's shown some good moments. All the players, every single one of them have had a little moment. You're like, oh, okay, that's pretty sick. But the fizzle has happened, the longevity of a team kicks in, and also that maybe just comfort on a map, and right now Fatal's just going to make this hurt. Now maybe they can get a bomb plant. That'd be certainly on the docket today if they could get something they want. They do, so at least good for the funds, at least good for the bank, but otherwise, another round on the board, and normally we talk about the economy and how, doing this is favorable. The problem is you've got 14 rounds now against you, so the economy kind of becomes a lesser conversation and more you just need rounds.
That's a very good way of putting it. Yeah, absolutely. That one of the key aspects of a comeback trail that you always talk about is, the CTs always have a rougher time of it when it comes to buys, and they've got to get the extra utility and their weapons cost more and all this kind of stuff. Well, none of that really matters because Pride now have got to be nigh on flawless every single half chance they get. And even if they do have a couple rounds where NOFEAR5 have to eco, well, guess what? We've had so many pistol rounds come out ahead. So you can't even rely on that, Lauren.
Yeah, you're spot on, actually. So we'll see. The marker is with Pride to make the moves. Now, Tori scouted up. This Tati received a chunk of damage there, but maybe some off the molly too, because 12 HP is exceptionally low. So taking over Ivy control, they're trying to build into this one. So that's a lot of eyes drawn that way, but there's still 2 players at B here for the CT side.
Timing may not favor them either, but there's the drive-by. Jammy was caught trying to tap the head off of, I think it was Fatal at the back boxes, and then Victoria just wide swings in. Insta headshot, trading up, and Pride on the back foot. Tati's been tagged down to 12, now finished off by MRSK. She may not expect the second player to be an Ivy, and maybe that catches her off guard. And now Potcher at least has made this a little bit more doable, a little bit more painful for NOFEAR5.
Utopia, best foot forward here, creates an avenue towards B. So the bomb should be planted safely. The CT side really sticking around towards A. Ash could definitely find some of these. Kind of gives away the game a little early on that, I feel. Could have maybe played patience, but you can see the speed up from Victoria just going to yeet in there. Victoria's kind of feeling herself, though. You've seen that confidence on that swing towards the upper side, but now, even with the HP low, obviously they don't know how low. Yeah, the time being bored, just off the paranoia of that potential flank. This one's over and done with. Pride are going to get the one on the board, and as said, the scoreline now gonna still look very one-sided. And as we said, the thing is that eventually the money swings around for NOFEAR5. Unless they just mad force buy every single round, at some point they'll have a full buy no matter what. So this is going to be, as said, it has to be flawless for Pride. And you're 3 standing and a bomb plant, not bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like this pendulum that at this stage, Pride always know that pendulum is going to come back and hit so much harder than they can dish it out. Until they draw that, I want to say until they get to like 9 or 10 rounds, NOFEAR5 will have absolutely no issue with how any of these rounds come down. Obviously, they want to get this done as fast as possible. They want to make a statement here to the rest of the teams watching on. But if they lose a few rounds here or there, no big deal. Pride in the meanwhile, though, AKs in hand, pushing outside behind E-Box. Early aggression has been assumed, and a big headshot from Jammy, who goes in for 2. That's a huge moment in the round. She is actually crazy.
Like, we haven't seen it, like, really translate in this game scoreboard-wise, but we've seen it in the others. Like, Jammy's pretty sharp considering, as said, the ping coming in, but it is 3 players still alive for the CTs. I'm waiting to see if they're able to maybe take back in this at least kind of aggressive posture that Jammy's currently residing in, and no, you can't take it away. Jammy is being an absolute fiend. And this is going to probably be a save coming out from the CTs here.
Yeah, it will. At least making NOFEAR5 wait for this potential win. MRSK should be able to hold on to her M4. The Pride economy could justify a weapon here or there thrown out. But I suppose at this point, because the economy eventually will bounce back, do you want to feasibly give across potentially an AK or 2 to the CTs? Maybe not. Maybe you play more to your own strengths rather than your opposition's weaknesses at this kind of a point in the game.
There it is, 5 on the board. Now, I have my rule for getting excited for about comebacks and such. I normally wait for double digits. And I think that's actually quite reserved, honestly. So, what's your general rule of thumb, Vince? When do you start believing in a comeback? When I see it, like I said, if I see, I think the other team get to 10 rounds, then I'll start paying attention. Until that point, nah.
Yeah, as a general rule, I'm the same. Double digits. I think contextually, though, in this kind of game, if NOFEAR5 get a 15th, then I'm not going to get that excited until maybe around 12. Like the 12th comes up for Pride.
Yeah,
so.
That's fair. It's just, as said, it's such a skewed affair at the moment. When you get to 14, it's one mistake and it's match point. It's not map point, it's match point against you. This is hard for Pride. Great purchase here. Money is not an issue now. They're in a good position with that. And of course, if it does ever get to the bad position, it means they've lost, so it doesn't really matter. They're going to be buying out every single time they can now, pretty much. Tati trying to get some of that Ivy control building, but this is going to be a B-lane coming in, and a bit of a stack for the CT. So, oh no. Oh, Elizabeth's found Jammy for free. Quick trade out for Potia, though. Very well played by Potia and Utopia. Even a bit of a check there. Not going to let Fatal get away with anything. In towards B they go.
I really like that play, that bait and switch from NOFEAR5, but they needed to make sure one of those 2 Boxhall players stayed alive. They had another one on the ramp, and that's a really cool sideswipe position, but it gets checked by multiple players if both of those Boxhall members fall down. I kind of left her out to dry a little bit there, but in terms of this, they do have the AK and M4 picked up. More than enough worth and value to go back and save. Does mean that Pride will again be successful. Not that NOFEAR5 will care too much, and they do have an AK at their disposal. That's a pretty big take.
Yeah, it really is. That's a decent little cutaway, little treat. And for Pride, again, going through the motions here. It's gritty, it's rough, it's scary. That round was a weird one from the CTs, not a full investment, of course. They had, bits and pieces here and there. They were trying to bring in those rifles, maybe with a couple of pistols around, so it wasn't that full threat to deal with. Now Pride might be finding a little bit more trouble in this. We'll see how they approach this now. We've seen quite a fair amount of success towards that inner sight. They've seemed pretty diligent on the approach. They've been dealing with the dabbles of aggression, but here comes another buyback. And again, Pride cannot afford to lose these rounds. There isn't too many, second bites at the cherry, as people say. Potia already looking to see if anyone's getting curious early. MRSK is going to push up quite proactively, as is Elizabeth. This is a little bit of a forward lean. This is scary, but it could work. But no, MRSK is only good for one there. Quickly isolated and taken down. Utopia has broken through towards the outer sight.
She's been really aggressive, getting a lot of success outside. She's getting to E-box and out of main so quickly. Victoria, the timing actually favors her. She spots Utopia and dinks her down to 1, but Tori's fell on Ivy. And therefore, Victoria can't fully commit to finishing off Utopia. Instead, she has to go out wide swing, goes in for the spray, whiffs out on those shots, and gets punished from behind. Jammy shows her hand from Pop Dog. NOFEAR5, they're having a bit of a struggle on this CT side. And I was going to say before that I was a little bit surprised that they actually went for that force, because they forced down to FAMAS's. And I feel like you have such a round buffer here. Surely you just hold off fire and get an AWP or 2 in play.
I'm very much with you on that. I think NOFEAR5 look a lot better when they can get those double AWPs out, or even just a AWP out, really. I think it suits them in a far more substantial manner. Pride do get that bomb down now, but they will keep 4 standing unless something goes terribly astray here, which it shouldn't do. And they've been finding success. Utopia's ability to open up these opportunities has been wonderful. Tati's presence on Ivy has been a nuisance, but it hasn't really equated to too much. But let's see if Tati can get that gun away from Fatal. Fatal should have the advantage on this, be it Shadow or simply just the peek. Yeah, so Fatal's going to have that. Gets an AK for the trouble, and we'll readjust. You can already see the hunt from Jammy beginning, though. They don't want to leave an AK unchecked upon, but now time is going to be dwindling, so I feel as though Jammy's going to get maybe 1 shot at this. No, not even really going to get that. Oh, lovely from Fatal. Very, very clean.
Clean, and the AK picked up. However, that is now 4 rounds in a row to the tees. Big entries picked up by Utopia outside. The second or third time we've seen her go for that now. They have forced up again, but it is a glass cannon Victoria and some rifles alongside it. I'm getting a little bit worried for NOFEAR5 here in terms of their economic sort of control, but Victoria getting the pick is huge, and they took ages to extinguish that Molotov. Oh, not like this, Pride.
That's a huge fumble. That molly, that miscommunication. Sure, the first pick we can write off, but mistakes being made, and this is what we said, they could not afford a single mistake because it would be match point then posted. 15 rounds with NOFEAR5, and then they're just 1 away. It was not allowed. It was something that they had to try and avoid, but now it's down to 2 of them. Tati and Dash trying to do something. Victoria already very aware of the possibility. Fatal pushing up a little bit closer as well into the more traditional hold. Respond with a flash if fancied and maybe watch the cross. Has to be careful, but does have support. And there goes Tati. Down to just 1 now. And Pride gonna be kicking themselves for that. A little bit of a fumble towards Pop. It echoed throughout that round.
Yeah, and any doubts I had over the buy from NOFEAR5 was quickly repelled. Pride 8 match points to save. They're going to have enough for a buy. Here is the opener from Victoria through the smoke to just make matters a little bit worse. And there's a second. She's been very, I would say, impressive over the duration of this best of 3. Even in the first map, when they did struggle, her opening has been on point.
You're right, and it was something the desk highlighted as well, is that Victoria was okay in the previous series, and we got to see them in their first debut in this event, at least for us. But she's definitely elevated here, showing a little bit more of that diligence, a little bit more of that experience. But now they still have to get across the finish line, and that nade is going to help matters. Potya already chipped down to 66 with the AWP, so not too bad, but Ashka is going to be down to 53, which is a bigger issue.
Forcing out the smoke onto Pop Dog as a result of the Molotov that was tossed out. HE behind it doesn't really affect Tori that much. Down to 71, and quite a bit of utility has been expended. Still, plenty of smokes, plenty of Molotovs on Pride. Elizabeth goes searching, all the timing. Oh, God, I thought Utopia had whiffed that for a second. I thought Elizabeth was going to have enough time to somehow pull that one off. And now it's raining players in Pop Dog, and Tori gets the frag with the USP. How is this happening, Lauren?
I don't know. I really do not know. Some of the events in this are baffling me, but it's down to Potya. It's down to Tati to save Pride in this, and the 1-for-1 trade is not enough. Potya is now in the 1v1 of her life, and she cannot save her side. NOFEAR5 grinded out all the maps there, going all 3, but certainly not all the rounds. NOFEAR5 defeating Pride in the final moments, and just showing that diligence over time, and honestly, the heartbreak of Overpass feels like it echoed through here.
I absolutely think that was the case. You get that close, you battle back 8 rounds in a row on the T side, and then through some bad, unforced errors, you lose. It would get the better of anybody, Lauren, and I don't think they ever fully got over that, to be honest, and recovered.
I'm with you. I think we saw it there. They didn't look like the team that was able to pull off that comeback on the previous map. They looked flat and looked a little defeated, and they are defeated eventually, but as said, it was a little bit of a shame to see it go that way. I'd have loved to have seen them really push on that final map to really see what Pride had, but not to be today. It is going to be NOFEAR5 who are going to work further forward. But Vince, it's been a pleasure, as always, to cast with you. Hopefully we get more opportunities to actually cast together. That was a damn good time.
I had a blast, Lauren. It was a lot of fun. It's been too long. I think we'll probably get another chance before this event is done, though.
Look, I hope so. We'll have a chat with production. Look, just wheel him out. Get him back out here with me. Anyway, speaking of that, we're going to go to a break and wheel out the analysis desk to talk you through everything, and if we're lucky, even get a little interview as well. Bear in mind, there's still another game to go today, so if you think, oh, I want to hear more of Pansy, stick around. I'm not going that far away, but for us, we're going to go away now to a break. See you soon.
Well, No Fear managed to get it over the line in pretty convincing fashion, Potter. It was one where we kind of were hoping this would end up as like a close third and final map, and it was anything but.
Anything but. I mean, you could just see, look at these crisp headshots even coming through for Victoria. This just really showcased how confident these players were feeling, and as it should be, a dominant first half coming through. And man, Pride, they could just do nothing. It seemed like their plan A didn't work, and plan B and C was just doo-doos.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like especially on a map like Train, this is one of the ones where I feel like spirals very quickly out of control. But to see such a dominant T side coming out of NOFEAR5, were you surprised by that, Miss Harvey?
Yeah, I mean, Tori was farming. Look at her ADR. You know, all of T side, she was having fun outside, gaining so much room from out of Pride is what I'm trying to say. And there was absolutely no crossfire. There was a lot of struggle. Jamie was really quiet during this half. And we were talking about how, you know, with the 100 ping, it might be a little bit easier to start on the T side and gain that momentum. And on the CT side, as you can see, it's a little bit harder to hold your angs. And she was definitely struggling a little bit more than in between, than with the other matches and games. Excuse me, I'm rambling, but just to sum it up, Tori did great. Tori did great, guys.
TLDR, Tori's the best. I love it.
Yeah, and well, to basically add to that, Potter, a little bit, and like we did see a couple of the sort of star performers on the side of Pride fall off. Do you think it was map specific, or just the fact that everything started so badly and there was never that defining moment, like on, for example, on Overpass, that sort of crazy clutch they managed to pull off that brought them back into the game? This time they didn't have that.
Yeah, there's just a couple things that really stand out to me. Firstly, I think the pattern, it's no secret that, again, Jamie was a huge element of why they were successful in map 1 and 2. And just the stats, usually there's a lot of context, but sometimes stats don't lie. And she's far down below on the bottom, just finding no success. And eventually, I think they just ran out of gas. I think Overpass was just so close, so neck and neck. I'm sure that these ladies felt like that was in their hands. And to go into a map 3, we always talk about stamina. We talk about the young, inexperienced players, inexperienced teams even coming through. You got to think about the long game. You know, there is a lot of opportunities coming through in the map 3, but you can't fault them, right? Again, Overpass was so close. So I feel for the ladies. I think map 3, they look deflated here.
Yeah, I'm a bit curious to hear from both of you on this topic, but like going into the tournament, I did the research I could here and there, and I looked at NOFEAR5 and I was like, okay, this should be the team that is trying to almost catch up to the likes of XSET. They're looking to try and be like that third team if they can. Thus far this tournament, it's been shaky. Like the game they had versus Galaxy Racer, they looked like they were a bit further behind. Even in the first map today, I was sort of sat there going, okay, this looks dangerous. Do you believe they can sort of build into this tournament, or are they still just going to be, okay, we're the third place team and that's going to be the grand final?
Well, I hope they don't say that to themselves. that would be not a winning attitude. But there's one thing for sure is that NOFEAR5 is on a upward kind of trajectory. So I'm looking forward to see how they handle this tournament versus the next one. Like right now, I don't think they're quite ready yet to be that top 3 team that we're looking for, but they are certainly making a case for that today.
Yeah, and they're going to be going up against Project C next, which, although like we still aren't sure what happened versus Arcane Wave, like it wasn't definitely the cleanest of matches either way, Potter. Do you think the Russians are going to have a good matchup there, like a better one? Because Project C, it seems like in terms of practice, they haven't been able to really do too much, I guess you could say, just yet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they should have a grand old time. To me, No Fear 5, these ladies are heating up. You know, Victoria on day 1 in that series, she was missing some shots, and it looks like she's crisp, made her aim a lot more crisp. Her AWP coming in clutch multiple times today. Just on her stats, the opening duels going back and forth for 8 attempts, being successful in 6 of those. The multi-kills coming out. I mean, these ladies heated up right in the nick of time. So yeah, I don't know. They're looking like a solid top 3 to me.
I guess it's just the danger, really, because when we look at this going into the match, it was a little bit too close. Now, before I ramble on, I believe that we've got the doorbell. Now, this interview is going to be an interesting one because we've got not only Fatal, but also the coach in the form of Rex. So I believe there's going to be a few translations along the way, but big congratulations on your victory. And I'm curious what it's like playing against Russian opposition, like playing some of your, I guess, local teammates in the past.
Hello.
Hello.
Свет, они спрашивают, каково это играть против русских оппонентов?
Играть против русских оппонентов довольно непросто, учитывая, что мы знаем этих девочек, и что у них довольно очень сильная стрельба.
It's quite uncomfortable for us to play versus Russian girls because we know them pretty well and also they know us and they have a pretty good aim, so that's it.
That's what we figured so before we played this game. Like, local rivalry is always so important. Okay, my question for Fatal is, how confident do they are coming in this tournament? Did they practice a lot?
Насколько, как ты думаешь, насколько уверены они были в этом турнире и насколько много они практиковались?
Я думаю, что они...
Мы практиковались.
Мы практиковались довольно много и готовились ко всем оппонентам. Насчет Pride, команды Pride, я считаю, что они просто готовились конкретно к нам, потому что заведомо, может быть, как-то знали, что мы упадем к ним. Ну, ты понял.
If you asked, I didn't hear the actual question, but if you asked about us, we prepared a lot. We learned a lot of good strategies and also worked hard a lot with story. And if you asked about the Pride, I think they also did this.
Yeah, that was it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So my question is, in this, in your opening match versus Galaxy Racer, it was pretty neck and neck. That second map on Vertigo was really close. What did you guys talk about as a team to fix quickly to come into this map in this series?
Вопрос про Vertigo из вчерашней серии. Что было такого, ну, что мы сделаем, чтобы пофиксить те ошибки и на этой карте?
Мы просто будем более уверены в себе и выиграем своим скиллом, покажем то, на что мы способны на самом деле.
So first problem in the Vertigo was our confidence because we didn't practice it a lot, but our confidence will rise higher and higher, and I think we'll fix everything that we need.
Nice.
Well, I think that will be all for now, but thank you very much again for joining us. I know it's probably not the most comfortable situation in the world, and obviously going forward into the tournament, best of luck to both of you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
That went better than I expected.
yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think we have to give a big shout out to their coach Rex as well for doing all of the translation, like reiterating all of the questions as well, because I think it's hard enough coming up with the question, but saying it, then remembering what we said, saying it back in another language, then remembering what was said again and translating it back all over again, like.
Hey, being able to act quick on the fly, improvise, adapt, those are qualities you want in a coach. So these ladies are on a good start right already, I think.
Well, we have now finished what will be our post-match of the last European game of the night. And now we get into a realm of, unfortunately, North America. I know that the other two might be a little bit excited about this one because we have this team called, sorry, where are my notes? CLG Red. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're going to be facing off against the Violent Roses. So we'll be back after a short break to bring you North America.